and like I sat with it to the point where I'm like, did you guys, because you want to know those Africans that would cry, were told the story, and were still longing for their family that was in different parts of the world in
Yeah.
the diaspora. Because I'm like, did y'all even hear stories about us?
Yeah.
I always felt like it was some kind of heaven outside of America, that you guys were so liberated and so African and so into the culture. And then when I found out y'all got work to do and y'all were colonized, I said, wow, the ants ain't even with them.
Dr. G. Real stories, real people, unpacking the struggles, reclaiming the narratives with Dr. G.
Greetings, family, and welcome back to Black Stories. Today, I'm honored to continue a powerful conversation that began from one of our videos from Afrisota Digital channel. And the video is titled, How Africans and African Americans See Each Other. That discussion sparked reflections, emotions, and honest dialogues from both sides of the ocean. And joining me today is Sister Regina, a proud African American storyteller and creator of the Eye of the Coconut Shell YouTube channel. After watching the video, she reached out to share her thoughts and her heart. And so today we're coming together in that story of truth, healing, and Ubuntu. I am because we are. Join the conversation. Drop your comments below. Let me know your struggle. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings to you. Like I said, I'm truly grateful that you have made the time for this conversation. You know, when you reached out to me after watching the how Africans and African Americans view each other, I felt a sense that this was the kind of dialogue, we should be having. And I believe that our ancestors
Yes.
are happy to see that we can have these kind of conversations. Their fighting is not in vain. They always fought to go back to their lands. They always fought to go back to their people. But I say, like I wrote in my book, the journey to return is not necessarily to return to a geographical location.
That's
It's a
it.
journey to return to who we have always been. You know, our story did not begin in the 1880s with slavery and colonization. It started way before we got intercepted by the colonizers and the enslavers. So that's the kind of return that I'm all about. That's the kind of return that I want to see us have. Today, it's all about listening, it's all about understanding, it's all about healing, and of course, it's all about building that bridge,
Yes.
building that bridge that for so long has separated us apart, you know. And so I really feel very honored to have you on the show today. And I look forward to learning from your journey. I look forward to learning from your heart. And I look forward to learning from the passion that you carry in building this bridge. Why don't you tell our brothers and sisters who you are?
Okay. I am Regina, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York, in the 60s, let's just say the late 60s.
Yeah.
And to African American parents, um, and I'm the youngest of four children, but my road has been so unique, let's just say. Growing up young, at a very early age, I've always been drawn to my culture, and it's always African culture to me. And so we didn't grow up in a household with like most people with Bibles in the house. We did not. We had like African carvings on our wall. So we were like one of these rare families. And on Sunday, when everyone was going to church,
And if you have not gotten a copy of this book, then what are you waiting for? It's on Amazon. Fractured Identities, The War on Blackness and Belonging. This book covers a lot of what we'll be discussing in Black Stories segment. So get your copy and let me know what you think about the book. I'll drop the link below in the description.
I was watching Like It Is by Gil Noble, and he had all of our history on that show. You know, you have Malcolm X, and you have Stokely Carmichael, and you have, Angela Davis, and all the freedom fighters were on that show. So with listening to Malcolm X, it's like you knew you were African because, and also my mother, that was the foundation, but Malcolm X never let you forget that you were African. So you're talking about as a toddler, you're hearing, we are African. That was ingrained in me from a young age.
Yeah,
So my thing is, my journey has always been about trying to find out who this African is and what do they look like,
yeah,
right? And so that wasn't popular in the African American community, of course. Growing up in the inner city of Brooklyn, New York, and it was a very lonely journey. I'm going to tell you, until I found Caribbean people, and they were like the closest to being African that I could even get as a young person in New York.
yeah,
I didn't really see African born Africans in Brooklyn at that time, but Caribbean people were there. And so my best friend was Caribbean. And her mother was from Barbados, she was from Trinidad, and her father was from Jamaica. And I stayed in their house all the time. And so when I went out on my journey later on, when I graduated from high school, when I was able to like really get out there and find my way, I looked for people who look like me. I really just wanted to be around African people. I was totally different.
wow,
So this thing about like when I was listening to this episode you had with Dr. Richard Oni, and
yeah,
he talked about what's this how Black Americans and Africans see each other. I never saw Africans as anybody different from myself. Just have they have different language and they were born other places, but I never felt looked at them as the other or those people. So, but I used to run to them. Like, look, it's almost like you grew up around cats and you really know you're a dog, and you finally see somebody from
some
your
cats.
yeah, your breed. Yeah, they look like you and you run to them. But then when you run to them, they look at you like, who are you?
Yeah,
Like they know you're American, and it's like I think it's because what they went through with the stereotypical kind of treatments that I didn't understand because my mother always told me those are your brothers and sisters, those are your kin. So we didn't understand why African Americans were so negative against people that were born in other places, especially African people that look more African. The more African you looked, or the more darker you looked, the more you were hated. And I think that was just a reminder of Africa for them. For me, it was like, yes.
yeah,
It was different for me. It was just like, yes. So, like I said, when I first went out on my journey, when I got older, I just mingled and mixed with with Caribbean, like first generation Caribbean people.
mhm,
No, sorry, Americans, Caribbean Americans, and
yeah,
also those who were born in the first immigrants coming
yeah,
over here. So I grew up with them. And I learned them and I just dived in, like I dived in head first into
yeah,
the culture. And so I don't relate to, and I can't answer questions as to why African Americans look. I don't even want to try to go there. Why they look at African born Africans a certain way. I don't even want to touch that because I was treated a certain way because of the way I look too. So I know it's about something they were taught from a young age. And since I wasn't taught that way, I don't relate. I can't explain it. I don't feel attacked when you talk about African Americans because you ain't talking about me.
yeah,
I don't have that experience. I don't have that mindset.
mhm,
So I don't identify with it. I'm drawn to my culture. And my whole walk has been about learning more about who I am and not through the eyes of the descendant of an enslaved African. I never like saw myself as an ex-slave, like like this slave mentality.
Mhm.
I've always saw myself as a descendant of a king or a queen.
Yeah. And to your point, I must say this. In the time of slavery, they didn't take the weak people from Africa. They were not looking for people who would depend on somebody. They were looking for our kings. They were looking for our warriors. They were looking for the strong of the strong because they were looking for people to work.
Yeah,
So you are very right on that when you say you see yourself as a descendant of a king, a queen, because those are the people that were taken away. Those are the kings and queens, the warriors that were
yes,
taken away. Any sign of weakness was a disqualification, you
yes.
know.
Hmm.
And this is just to say that the mentality that people have a lazy mentality, people are lazy, people are weak, sometimes it just defeats the purpose. And I say, hey, it looks like there's something distorted here in the histories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But again, when our brothers and sisters meet us with that kind of, I would say, pain, with that kind of maybe limited history, maybe limited knowledge of what exactly
Yes.
transpired,
Hmm.
then we can begin to get all these different viewpoints, different perceptions, different reactions towards each other. In all honesty, some of our brothers and sisters during this enslavement period were given away by their family members, by their
Yes.
kings, in all
Yes.
honesty. And like I mentioned in my discussion with Elder Embry, sometimes it's so easy to pick that piece of the story and amplify it and make it look like that was the only and the whole truth. And what that does is continue the intentionalized division that the enslavers and the colonizers had always wanted us to be. Yes, some of them were sold, some of them just for tobacco, for a shirt, for a glass. And it's not because they knew better, because they are convinced this is it, this is the best thing you can do for your life, for your community. Some, of course, were forcefully sold away, were forcefully given away. If you talk about selling in terms of how trade was done in those days, you can't consider that even as a trade kind of thing. But people were literally given away. People were taken away, for little, for less than $1, I can say. Yeah. So there is that bitterness when people are given that fragmented part of the story and not given the whole picture, or not given an opportunity to see the whole picture.
Doesn't change the fact that we're family. You have to find those who want to bridge that gap.
Yes.
You have to find those who can see beyond. Um, I mean, it depends on. I just think it depends on what you were told at a very young age,
Mhm.
right? What were you told at a very young age about your brothers and sisters abroad? But it takes time to get there, right? It does. If you like, even looking at the fact that, and this only came to me just a few years ago, that you all lost your family as well. So it's like we were enslaved in this country, right? But our brothers and sisters, our family that we left abroad, they were weeping. They were crying for us when right? Those who were left behind.
Sure.
So it was sadness on that side too. Now, like I sat with it to the point where I'm like, did you guys, because you want to know those Africans that would cry, were told the story, and were still longing for their family that was in different parts of the world in
Yeah.
the diaspora. Because I'm like, did y'all even hear stories about us? I mean, when you think about it, because
Yeah.
y'all still, when I met a lot of Africans, when I was younger, when my eyes are wide open, like, ooh, run into them like, oh, you're gonna save me from this crazy place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was always that one that just wanted to
Hmm.
get away. I just wanted to get away from America.
Yeah.
I always felt like it was some kind of heaven outside of America, that you guys were so liberated and so African and so into the culture. And then when I found out y'all got work to do and y'all were colonized, I said, wow, the ants ain't even with them. So, and it ain't even in Africa. And I stopped longing for, and I started realizing this thing is not about the soil. It's not about the place. It's a spiritual thing
Yeah.
for me. It's not about, because then if I gotta be like longing for Africa when I feel African when I'm on the soil, when I'm in Africa, like when I
Mhm.
finally get there, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Because I went there and it wasn't like what you fasten, you like fantasize it's gonna be, they're gonna be so into the culture. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. I feel more African in America than I feel in Africa, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I realize it's a spiritual thing. It's not about something you can see with the eye. It's not about how you wrap your hair, how you wear your clothes. It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
So, but it's a journey. It's like you have to want to go that, take that journey
Mhm.
to get to this place. But um, and it's not about, okay, there was some things you said that I got to talk about, but go ahead. You go ahead. You got how much to talk to. So
Dr. G. Real stories, real people. Unpacking the struggles, reclaiming the narratives with Dr. G.